All right, another way that we can create a new function from two known functions is that we can take the ratio of the two. We can create a quotient. We can divide one function by another. All right, when we divide one function by another, it's called a quotient. And so if we have a quotient, say h of x equals f of x over g of x, then we can rearrange that. We could multiply both sides by g of x, and we would get h of x times g of x equals f of x. Now, then we can take that and we can differentiate both sides, use the product rule on the left-hand side, and then we can arrange that so that we can solve for h prime of x. Okay, so this is just sort of going through the derivation of the quotient rule. All right, in the end, what you have, you're just going to have to remember this. We have the quotient rule, and so if you have the derivative of a quotient of two functions, you have a numerator and denominator. You take the derivative of the numerator times the denominator minus. Now there's a minus in the middle. The numerator times the derivative of the denominator, and then you divide all of that by the denominator squared. Okay. Now there's a little bit of a rhyme here. This is sort of the way, this is how I remember it. It's low d high minus high d low, square the bottom and away you go. All right. So basically low d high over high d low. Sorry. Yeah. Low d high minus high d low all over low squared, basically. All right. So that's what goes on in my mind when I do the quotient rule. I just have that little rhyme in my head. But you have to remember that it's low d high. Low comes first, minus high d low. All right, so just takes practice. Now there is a way that we can use the Martelli method on this as well. So we'll show you the Martelli method. But you know, to me, I feel like you have to after you've learned it, you've done it a few times, you've practiced. I think it's easier just to write the derivative directly. In the long run, you should probably get to that point where you could just write it directly without having to go through all that whole process. But when you're first starting out, I think this helps a lot. Now, the Martelli method for the quotient rule is very similar. We're gonna draw that same box. All right, I've just been trying like a crosshairs here, but this time it's really critical which one comes first, but it's easy to remember. You're gonna put the numerator on top, of course, and then the denominator here. So the original two functions that you're dividing go on the left-hand side here. Okay, and then you're going to take the derivatives, so 10x and 3x squared. Okay, just like we did for the product rule, right? And we're going to draw arrows. Okay, but we have to keep in mind this is a quotient, not a product. This is a quotient. So we have to apply the product or the quotient rule on this one. So f prime of x, right? And now I can write the derivative, and I'm going to follow the arrows just like I did for the product rule, right? I'm going to take 10x times this x cubed. So 10x times x cubed plus 1. But this time a minus has to go in the middle, all right? And then we're going to multiply the other two diagonals, or the other diagonal, 5x squared times 3x squared, which I suppose you could just write that directly as 15x to the fourth. That would be fine with me. That little simplification is just fine. All right, and then all of that over, right, because remember it's the quotient rule, so we have to divide everything by the denominator squared. So x cubed plus 1 squared. Boom, that's it, you're done. So it's a lot like that, the product rule, except that we have minus in the middle and we're dividing by low squared, the denominator squared. Okay, so let's keep practicing. Let's keep practicing that. So again, I'm going to draw my little box here. And the numerator is x squared plus 4. And here the denominator is 1 plus e to the x. All right, then find the derivatives. We're going to put the derivatives over here on the right. 2x and e to the x. Now, we're going to apply the Martelli method to this box for the quotient rule. Oops, I'm not going to write f because this is y. So I'm just going to I'll just write dy dx. That's what I usually do if we just have a variable. Okay, I'm going to draw my little arrows, and then we're just going to follow the arrows, right? I'm going to follow the arrows. This one's pointing, is pointing to the left, so we're going to put that one first. So we have 2x times 1 plus e to the x minus, remember, because it's the quotient rule. And then I'm just going to put the e to the x first, and then times x squared plus 4. Okay, you can put the e to the x at the end. That would be fine too. But let's see. And then we're going to divide all of that by the denominator squared. So 1 plus e to the x squared. And we're done. All right, simple. Just take some practice. All right, let's take a look at the next one. If you feel like you got this, stop the video, pause the video, and try it yourself, and then you can kind of fast forward to the answer and check. But I'm going to just draw the little box. I have e to the x on top, x squared on the bottom. Derivative of e to the x is e to the x, and the derivative of x squared is 2x. Draw my arrows. And k prime of x is equal to e to the x times x squared minus, I'll just write 2x e to the x, or either way. I usually just like to have my constants in the front, but right. And then we're going to divide by x squared squared, which is x to the 4th, right? Or you could write x squared squared. That would be fine too. But I'm just going to write x to the 4th. All right, we got one more here. Draw my box. And I'm going to put 3x is on top. 5e to the x minus 2x cubed is on the bottom. Derivative of 3x is 3. And the derivative of the denominator is 5e to the x minus 6x squared. All right, draw the arrows. And then we have a variable v on this side, so I'll write dv dx. And so we have 3 times 5e to the x minus 2x cubed minus 3x times 5e to the x minus 6x squared. And all of that is over the denominator squared. So we're going to have 5e to the x minus 2x cubed squared. You don't have to worry about simplifying that or FOILing that out, or just leave it as it is. We don't really need to right now. Maybe later when we're using these derivatives, it might be helpful to simplify, but for right now, just leave it. I want you to just learn the product and quotient rules. All right, so there we go. I'll meet you in the next video for example 3.